this now. Oh, what a strike that is!
It's nice, Tracy.
Emily Owen hoofs it up towards Una Lou again. To Silver. Una Lou in the air! She gets that first goal of the season.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Women's Football Debrief. This is episode number 15. We're rattling through them now, Ben. It's brilliant.
We certainly are.
With Owen Mason and your host, Ben Stevens. Firstly, Ben, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, mate. It's nice to be doing one face-to-face again.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've actually done one sat together in the same room,
That's
so
right.
nice to be back together doing one.
Yes, we're live in the West Midlands in Worcestershire, at the mighty Mason household at the moment. So, yes, there's no rain at the moment. Thank God we had some terrible rain this morning. But anyway, that's beside the point. We've got a brilliant guest on this morning, and it is Peterborough United's goalkeeper, Nieve Corry. Nieve, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Yes, not too
Good.
bad. All good, actually. Yes, so it's, first of all, Nieve, obviously the first question really we got to ask you is obviously last season, it was a fantastic season for you. We'll get into that properly in a bit. But for you, a proud moment for yourself as a goalkeeper, the Golden Glove winner in the league. First of all, how was that? And obviously going all the way to Wembley to get your award.
It was an amazing experience. I took my dad with me, and the whole setup when we got to Wembley was amazing. But getting the award, not even just for myself, but for the team as well, it was a really proud moment, and it was something that myself and the whole team, all the staff, we worked towards. Once we found out, I think it was at Christmas when we found out that I was in lead at that sort of point, I was like, well, I want to get it then. That's my aim. Obviously, you want to keep clean sheets anyway, and it's a good thing to the team to get. But I thought, no, I'm going for it, and I'm getting it. So every game, I'd keep track of it. I'd keep track of all the other teams in the league, and I'd just keep track on it. And I think it was it the Sheffield game, the second last game of the season. We got a clean sheet. Leaford didn't, and I thought, I've got it. It's confirmed now. She can't overtake me. And it was a really proud moment, and yeah, something that I look back on and it makes me happy.
Yeah, just as a goalkeeper as well, Niamh, well over half of your games in the league last season, 15 clean sheets. Brilliant, really, when you think about it. But for you, as those clean sheets were tossing up, the confidence in yourself and the whole team must have been, sky high.
Yeah, I think 1,000,000,000%. Last season we took it one game at a time, but obviously you have more of a chance of winning if you keep a clean sheet. And I think we defended really well. We played really well as a team. Obviously, we won the league, which is an amazing achievement. And yeah, we just didn't want to concede a goal at all, with or without the award. We don't want to concede, and we were very attacking but also defensive, and we want to almost take that into this season, going into tier 3 and stuff like that. So yeah, amazing achievement.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant season. But we'll jump right back to the start of your football journey now. It's something we
God.
love doing, jumping all the way back. How did you first sort of get into football?
So I started when I was like 7, and it was actually for a boys' team. My mum took me, and on the sheet back in the day, you had to write down what position you were, and I didn't have a clue. I was like goalkeeper or defender, and then they've chucked me in goal, and then ever since, the rest is just history. I was with the boys at St Mary up until I think I was about maybe 14, around that, and then when we kind of changed to Long Sutton till I was 15. I played for Boston girls, PSL girls, and I was at Norwich for a season as well, while doing boys as well. And then in 16, went to the foundation, was in the reserves a little bit, and just jumped into the first team pretty much at 16, which is mad to think that this is my 5th season because I'm only 21. But no, as soon as I hit the age where you could play women's football, I was thrown right in, and I've loved it ever since. And I think growing up with the boys, I got a lot of respect from them in school and around the area. And I think that helped me in my football career in terms of almost your toughness a little bit.
Yeah, and you've now made over 100 appearances for Peterborough. And like you say, at the age of just 21, how incredible is that to have made that many appearances for one club?
Very surreal, and it makes me feel really old when I know I'm not. But no, it's an amazing achievement, and not even that it's taken so long to get, because time flight is flown by. And but I just can't wait to hit the 150 mark, 200 mark, whatever it is, and just keep going on that sort of way. So, and keep just getting the clean sheets as well.
Fantastic, yeah. And as you say, during that time, obviously, as you say, coming into your 5th season now at Peterborough, you're involved, a few seasons back in 2 quite consistent campaigns with Peterborough, finishing 3rd, obviously when teams like Calcer and Loughborough won the league, obviously, even to have top half finishes, top four finishes, without going for that league title, that must have been quite good to be a part of.
Yeah, 1,000,000,000%. I think the season where Calcer got promoted, um, I think we knew that we weren't going to win the league that
Mm.
year. I thought there was a few games where we didn't perform the best. And credit to Calcer, they went on and took it. And the year Loughborough did was really disappointing. And to finish third as well, we knew this season was our season, and we went out with a mindset of taking it one game at a time. And we know that every game's not going to be easy. We know what we're capable of, but I think this season it was one game at a time, and it got to a stage probably around March time, and it was like, right, this is ours now. We got to get three more games, whatever it is, and it's almost confirmed, and we can kind of have a breeze by. But even then, we didn't like the Sheffield and Stourbridge, our last two games. We didn't want to concede still. We didn't want to go out and potentially lose the game. We wanted to still put a mark on because we want to take it into this season. But I think the past 3 years have just been a build up every single season of the more ambitions that we have and growing the club and growing the players. We've brought in some amazing players over the past two seasons. That's been a massive contribution to us winning the league. So yeah, I think it's just been like a massive build up.
Yeah, and a big part of that, as well as the players on the pitch, of course, has been obviously Jake Paul being the manager, going into his third season at the club now. How much has he helped your development? Obviously, still as a young player as well, because taking you through that, and of course, on and off the pitch now, building quite a good relationship with him.
Yeah, no, I love Jake. I think he's amazing. He obviously came in and the mindset was very clear to do the best that we can in the league, and we want to play in tier three for the first time. We want to make history, and we deserve to be in that league. And he has a lot of faith in us players, even the young ones. And he's not afraid to kind of play that side of the game in terms of playing us young ones. I'm still young, but I have all the experience in the world. But still, some managers will still look at that and think they'll kind of be half-hearted with it. But no, he's done amazing. He's brought in some players. His management, especially last season, like I think the season before we rushed the games in terms of we didn't take it one game at a time. And I know I keep saying it, but
Mm.
last season was purely it's one game at a time, 3 points at a time, and you work on from that. And we bounced off each game and each win. And the same with this season, we're taking it one game at a time once again, and we know we deserve to be in that league, and it's just about making our mark, proving that we deserve to be in that league, and he's drilled it into our heads really good, and he's done well since he's done really good since he's been at the club. So
Yeah, you've touched on the promotion season a little bit already, but we'll jump back to it. 20 wins, 2 draws, 0 defeats. I mean, it's a brilliant record. What was the belief like in the squad, when you just can't seem to lose and you're winning all these games? Like, what was the belief like?
oh, it was amazing, the changing room atmosphere. But even we have an amazing bunch of girls anyway, and we're a very close knitted group. But the changing room, especially even at half time and full time, it was just ecstatic, but we were also passionate about it because we knew the job weren't done until it was completely confirmed. Like we might have known come Christmas that what this league is ours, but nothing is done. Everybody knows how a game of football can go, or even a season can go. One game changes everything. And the mindset of all the girls was absolutely amazing. And I think it showed during our performances that there were some tough weeks. There were some tough teams in that league, but also you turn up on an away game, it's tipping it down with rain, it's muddy, the pitch is a bit horrific. Those are the games which are actually the hardest, not when you're playing, that the likes of Leafield, Barnsley, Boldmere. It were the horrible away games, and we all stuck together as a team, and that's what I mean by we're so close knitted, not even on the pitch, but also off the pitch. And I think we carried each other really well.
Yeah, you just said there, close knit group. You've kept 16 players going into your first ever Tier 3 season. Just how important was that?
I think it's really important. I think last season we knew, even with the squad from last season, we knew we could play in tier three. And, I think the management squad and the staff have made some really good signings to help us in tier three. But to keep pretty much the main squad of last season has been a massive key as well. We know what we had to go through last year. We know the ambitions, and we can put that on the new players. But the new players have settled in really well. They know what our ambitions are, and they know what the aims are, and they've done absolutely amazing. But it's nice to kind of keep the core of the team as well, I think, especially all the OGs. But yeah, no, it's really nice.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously the new players there. A few of those there, obviously Romy Saunders from Leicester, Camille Jenkins from Stoke, Ellie May from West Brom, who scored at the weekend, scored a brace as well. We'll get into that later as well. Alice Hiddingbottom from Loughborough, and a Scottish under-23 in Brodie Greenwood. As you say, they've gelled quite well in the team that was really close knit.
Yeah, no, they've done really well, and I can imagine it not being easy for them coming into, pretty much the same squad as last season almost. And they've done really well. Off the pitch, we're a very social group. Everyone's friends. We do loads of bits together, but on the pitch, they've done well and just got their heads down to almost get the job done in terms of what we want from the games. Um, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say in terms of they've just done really well. They've settled in really well, and they're massive. They're going to be massive for this season as well. Like, we will need to rotate the squad, and every player is going to have a key role, whether they're on the bench, whether they're starting, regular starters. Everyone has a role, and they've done really well to kind of to buy into that.
Yeah, obviously, just before we get into the main season, obviously, just started a few weeks ago. How was pre-season? As you say, it was because you're building towards something. Your first ever Tier 3 season with a lot of the same players from last year, which is fantastic, and some new players as well. And of
Yeah.
course, it was red hot for most of the summer as well. So obviously, how did you deal with quite a warm pre-season? Let's put it that way.
Oh, it was too hot. I don't deal with the heat very well, but no, pre-season went well for us. Apart from Oxford, we only conceded one goal in the rest of our pre-seasons, and I believe we won the rest of them apart from Oxford as well. But Oxford was an eye-opener as well. We know the level and we know the talent in Tier 3 already. Um, and we learnt a lot from that game. Most of that game was for our out of possession stuff, but the rest of the game, I think, especially Tottenham, showed how everything from each week of pre-season and each game that we worked on, it all just clicked, and it was a really good performance, especially the first half to watch. And I think it was really positive for us to take that whole of pre-season into the rugby game, which I know wasn't the best result, but we still yet learned so much from that game, and we still have so much to learn. But we know what we need to work on, and we know that we're capable of competing in that league, and it's just taking it once again, game by game, um, and working as a team to get that goal.
Yeah, you just touched on the opening day there against Rugby, obviously. A 5-0 defeat, not the start that you wanted in Tier 3, but what were sort of the key lessons that you kind of learned from that defeat?
I think obviously it's a bummer when you go into your first game in Tier 3 and you get, it's 5-0 defeat, especially as a keeper. But no, we did learn a lot from that game. Don't get me wrong, Rugby are an amazing team and they'll do well in this league, but I'd say three or four of the goals came from our own mistakes, and they're very little moments where you cut one of those moments out and the goal doesn't happen. And I think we straight away said after the game, look, girls, we cut those mistakes out in the next couple of weeks, and it's a different game to play. I know we're playing them in the League Cup, but I think that game will just be about proving what we've worked on and if it's sunk in sort of thing. But of course we were deflated, but we had a game the next week. We have two games, a game tonight and a game Sunday. We can't dwell on it because that's how competitive this league is. And I think we've all just done really well to get our heads down and training for the next game, but also reflecting on what we could have done better.
Yeah, I mean, you bounced back in some style with a 3-2 win over Liverpool Feds. And I think that was really important for you to be able to bounce back and get that first win in Tier 3. What was that game like?
It was amazing. It was amazing to be back at home as well. It was our first home game in Tier 3, and we want to make our home ground a fortress. We want that to be a hard game for teams to come to. And don't get me wrong, they had a player sent off in about the 35th minute, I think. And we knew second half that they would come out in one or two ways. Either they would try and sit off and play us on the counter attack, or they're going to come out as full force. And I think they did a bit of both. And I won't lie, the last 10 minutes of that game were very shaky and very nerve-wracking. But that's the league, that's the talent that the whole all the clubs in the league have, and it was almost an eye-opening for us that we went 3-0 up, but like I said, the game's not done until the ref blows the final whistle. But I thought we defended really well, and we shown that we can compete. Like Liverpool, you wouldn't in the last half an hour, you wouldn't have been able to tell that they had 10 players on the pitch. It would have been, you wouldn't have expected it. So once again, another eye opener, but it's a massive win to come back to bounce back off for even tonight in the cup, but also Sunday West Brom away. We're going to be absolutely bouncing off it, but we know what the job is and what we need to get done on tonight and Sunday as well.
Yeah, as you say, it was quite a nervy final 10 minutes or so on Sunday. However, that must have been such a sweet moment when the final whistle went, because it was the first win at Tier 3 level for Peterborough. So that must have been such an honour for you guys to get that.
Yeah, no, it was really nice when the final whistle blew. I think we all had a sigh of relief a little bit, but our first points, let alone 3 points in Tier 3, it's amazing. It was amazing to have all the friends and family there and all the fans there as well. And yeah, I just want more of it, especially at home, but not even that. The winning feeling, especially when you know it's been a hard 90 minutes compared to maybe not so much last season, it feels so much better. I don't know how to explain it. It's like you've worked so hard for it and it's actually properly paid off, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, so you play at Pims Park for most of your home game. Excuse me. Bloody hell. Frog in the throat there. Sorry, yes. We'll
No,
start
you're
again.
all right.
You play at, obviously, Pims Park for most of your games at home over the season, but you do play at London Road as well for a few showcase games as well. I think you've got rugby in December there. So, which is great to see, because, play, as we mentioned off camera, great facilities at Pims Park, but also great to be able to play at the men's ground as well.
Yeah, I think Pims Park, that's our home pitch, It's right in the centre of Peterborough, and I think since we've moved to Peterborough, we get a bit more consistent fan base. We've got amazing fans anyway, and they're absolutely amazing. But the fact that we got to play at the stadium last season was even better. The crowd. I think we had 1.7 thousand. I think it was.
That's it.
It was absolutely amazing, the atmosphere, but also to play on the pitch. It's an absolute carpet, and it was really nice to put a performance on for the fans, but also to show that, we want to play here a few more times. We don't want it to be a once every however long it is. So no, hopefully we can. I think we actually should be doing it on the 13th of September. I think we're playing Loughborough there, which would be exciting. But once again, we just want more of it. Like, as much as we love Pims Park, who doesn't want to play at the stadium?
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned, just obviously you said about Tier 3 in general, being at Tier 3 for the first time. However, as you said, that competitiveness, and we were mentioning it off camera and a few weeks ago in our predictions podcast, where this season the Northern Division looks incredibly competitive. Where, in recent years you've had your teams like Wolves, Burnley, obviously Forest and Newcastle as well, that are now well established WSL 2 sides. So you look at it now, Nieve, and you think, crikey, it could be anyone's for the taking here this season.
Yeah, I think this is, like you said, it's the most open both leagues will ever be, because you've got the bigger, not even the bigger clubs, but you could tell what their ambitions were. They were all full time. And with them kind of out of the league now, I think it's anyone's to sort of take, like anything can happen in a game of football, anything can happen in a season. And like I said, it takes a handful of games and everything changes. So it's an exciting season to actually be in the league as well. I think it's the right year, like I said earlier on. And it's exciting, and I can't wait for it. And I can't wait to play all the teams. I don't think we've played, apart from rugby and Loughborough, I don't think we've actually played anyone else in that league that I can remember off the top of my head. So it's exciting to play some new teams as well, but also, like I said, to make our mark and actually prove that we deserve to be in that league.
Yeah, and at the time of recording, you've got Notts County tonight in the League Cup, and as you mentioned before we started recording, 6 times in the last 2 years, which
Yeah.
is a little bit insane. It's like when Cheltenham played Wolves
Yes.
3 times in 1 year while we were there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy. But what are you expecting from Notts County then kicking off your League Cup campaign tonight?
I mean, I think we know what we expect from them. We've played them obviously 4 times in the league, and then there was an FA Cup, and obviously pre-season we played them. So we get along with them as a club. We're quite friendly as such. We know quite a few of their players, and we know what to expect from them. And I think the preparation has been the same as it's been the last 6 times almost. It's going to be, we know what to expect, but we know what we need to do, and we know what to go into the game looking like. We know what we need to do well, and we know how to almost win the game and bits like that. But we also know not to underestimate them. We know that they're a good squad. I remember the first season Jake came, we were 3-0 down or 3-1 down. We ended up winning the game 4-3. Once again, it's an amazing feeling, but we know what they're capable of. And it's just about making sure our preparation is right for tonight, which I think it is. Hopefully the weather dies down a little bit. But once again, who doesn't love a rainy midnight, not midnight, midweek game?
Yeah, and obviously, we've mentioned a few times first season at Tier 3. What are some of your personal aspirations for the year and some of the team aspirations as well?
I think this year for myself is, don't get me wrong, last season I think yes I got the Golden Glove, but I didn't really get to showcase my
Mm.
actual myself and how I actually play. So I think going into this season I'm excited to have a bit more to do hopefully, and to be a bigger part of the squad, even though I am. But I think already pre-season I'm on the ball a lot more, I dictate a lot more of the play. And it's been exciting. It's been stuff I've been looking forward to. And I think as a team, our ambitions are just to do well. I think to get as many points as we can, and to just make a mark and prove a point, but also we want to show up, and we want teams to think, oh, great, we've got Peterborough this weekend, or we want them to kind of be like that about us. So yeah, it's just exciting. I think this season, I think every week's going to be exciting. The home games, all the different away games, the cup games, all of it together. It's a much more professional league as well, and it's just yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously the cup runs. You've had some good FA Cup runs in the past as well. Something we always look forward to, didn't it? At our time at Cheltenham, getting to the fourth round, all that.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago now, which is a bit depressing. But they getting too old, it's terrible. But it was a great run, and as you say, you got to the third round. There's just something special about the FA Cup, isn't it? When the big teams start coming in, you really start to dream, don't you, about a massive cup clash.
Yeah, I remember, would have been 4 seasons ago maybe. We made it to the third round and we played Durham in the championship,
Exactly. Yeah.
and we only lost 1-0, and it was to a wonder strike. It was, but I honestly think if she doesn't score that goal, we take it to penalties. And myself as a keeper, I back myself, but I genuinely think we win that game on penalties. Um, but no, the FA Cup's my favourite competition. Anything can happen. And like you said, you've got the big clubs that come in. I don't know what rounds they actually come in, but you win a couple rounds. All right, you got the bigger teams, you got the, you might be able to play at Arsenal, Emirates or something. But anything can happen in the FA Cup. And that's why I love it so much. And we've had a good few runs, but I think this season, with potentially, last season our main focus was on the league, whereas now we want to do well in the League Cup, we want to do well in the league, but also we want to do well in the FA Cup. Let's just go out and have a right go at it.
Yeah, is there a personal like if you had to pick if you have a team that means close to you, is there a team that if you to say Peterborough get to the fourth round this time, you're on TV as well, you're on Channel 4, so it's great to see that you're on TV. More games on TNT and Channel 4 now, which is brilliant to see. So if you were having a plum FA Cup draw on Channel 4, who would you like to see? At home, of course, or away? Where would you like to be?
Oh, I'm a Liverpool fan, so get me against Liverpool, but I do like the idea of Chelsea and Arsenal,
Nice.
because I think they're just such high. Obviously, they're both two of the best women's teams in the country, but also in Europe, I think.
Mm.
And to have them home, could you imagine having them at Pims Park? I'm sorry, I know the stadium, but oh my God, the atmosphere would be absolutely surreal. And I'll take anyone in WSL 2 or the WSL. I think it'll be a bolter of a game.
Brilliant. Yeah, we were narrowly close, weren't we, to Ella Toon at
Yeah.
Kate Lane. That was almost so incredibly close. If we would have beat Wolves, it would have been Man United at home, which would have been
It's
amazing.
crazy when you think you win one more game and you see who they play next, and you're thinking, oh, but that's what's so special about the FA Cup.
Certainly is.
Yeah, I remember us all being on. We were all on a big Teams call for the
Yeah.
fourth round draw, and we were like, "Oh, come on! You could get anyone in the WSL." And we drew Wolves, who we'd already played twice that year, and the feeling was just very like,
Oh,
seriously, anyone
yeah.
we could have got, and we've got a team we've already played twice. Yeah, but the feeling of the FA Cup is just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. It's my favourite competition.
Yeah. So just a final one from me. Obviously, we had the announcement from the Women's National League yesterday about PGA teams joining from next season. We also had a little bit of a chat about it off camera before we started recording. But what do you sort of think that's going to do for the league?
I think it's good. I think any additional teams in the league is a good thing. But I think you guys mentioned they can't get promoted. So the only
Mm,
thing I see as is you go into the league, even ourselves, you don't go into the league to not want to win, and that also means you don't want to not get promoted. Um, and it's the same the other way around. If they get relegated and then they're in tier four, I don't know. I think I have mixed opinions about it, but I think it'll be good for the PGA girls. I think the younger girls coming up in the academies, I think it'll be really good for them to get that experience. And like you guys said, the loans and the opportunities for them. But also, it's more additions to the league, and it'll make it more competitive. But I think it'll just be a waiting game to see how it actually turns out.
Yeah, and as you know, we were saying about the potential, obviously, of central funding, which is of course a positive for teams at this level. As you know, funding is so important. You know, as we mentioned about the FA Cup run, the money that was gained from that was fantastic for all
It was
teams involved.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah, really, really good. And it was more. Hopefully that continues. However, obviously loans were then available from your PGA sides to tier 3 and 4, which is great because we've seen so many players make that jump up. You know, we love mentioning it on the podcast. Emily Curtis, who was at Bristol City PGA, and she's now a well established tier 3 player with Cheltenham now, and you've seen so many success stories with that. So that can only be a positive, can it, Nieve?
Yeah, no, I think it is a big positive. I think just waiting to see how it plays out. But there's so much talent in the PGA teams. Like I said to you guys off camera, there's so many girls that are now, in the championship or even in the academies at WSL. Because I like to follow it all. And they've got some real good talent, and I think it will be a good addition to tier three. But also the loans and the opportunities that maybe even us or other teams will get, I think it'll be key as well. But no, it's exciting, new additions to the team, and also academies, a lot more professional setups. You've got then a second team to the first teams pretty much, don't you? So don't underestimate them, but also wait and see.
Yeah, and just finally from me, you mentioned it there, where some of these players have gone on to tier 2. Obviously, we've been ever close to Wolves and Watford last season, of course, but Burnley as well going up there now to tier 2. It's a big jump up for them, but how do you reckon they'll get on in a few weeks' time?
I think they'll do well. I think when Ipswich and Forest went up, I
Mm,
think that was a big tester of okay, we know the quality that Ipswich and Forest have, but the fact that they managed to do really well in that first season, I think it shocked a lot of people, if I'm being
mm.
honest. And I think it'll be the exact same with the likes of Burnley, Wolves, and Watford, I believe it is. I think they'll establish themselves really well, and I think that the championship is going to be the most competitive it's been in quite a while again, I think. So it'll be exciting to see, and I'll keep on top of it as well in terms of I'm football obsessed, so I'll watch every game I can, and I'll watch all the games back. And I like to see the competition as well in terms of you never know one day, and I just like to keep on top of things.
Yeah, because that's a very good point you make there. Because you see players now that we've seen at Cheltenham that have now moved on to, Phoebe Poole, for example, is now playing at Watford and is now a Welsh international. Tiana Tyser's also there. Olivia Francis, part of that Plymouth team that, of course, had to go, all to new clubs last season. We mentioned it
Yeah.
on the podcast. We were ranting away about it the other week, but it's great to see how they've moved on to other clubs, and a lot of them are in tier 2 now, which is fantastic to see. That's the dream, isn't it, for players like yourself, Nieve? As you say, you get to tier 3 now and still only 21. So there's so much potential there. Now you're in tier 3 to just keep on rising the leads. It must be such a great time to be involved in women's football.
Oh, no, 1 billion%. And like you said earlier, the league's the most open it's ever been. But I am still so young, and I know
Mm,
I'm an OG, and it makes me feel old. But there's still, especially as a keeper, I think goalkeepers have so many more years in them compared to outfield
mm.
players. And I think it's an exciting time to get my head down, but to do well in the league, but also to have the ambitions to want to play higher, to go further. And it's just a waiting game. I think everything happens for a reason. That's obviously where I want to be. I don't want to put a timeline on it because then it puts so much pressure on. But I want to do well. I want the team to do well, and let's see who we get in the FA Cup. Let's see how we do in the league, and let's just wait and see.
Brilliant, fantastic. Anything from you, Ben?
That's all the questions.
Lovely. That's great. So thank you, Nieve, for coming on to the podcast. It's been fantastic to get your insights on coming up to Tier 3 for the first time and what a season you had last year. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Fantastic to have Nieve on, Ben. And another episode done. We're going to try and get as many as we can over the next few weeks of the season in full swing. Would she go into a cup game tonight? We're not going to Peterborough. Sorry, Nieve. That would have been great.
Fine, I guess how it is.
we're at Kate Lane tonight. We're returning to our spiritual home, aren't we? To face it's a good game as well. Cheltenham versus Gwalior. It's a bit of a local derby.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It'll be good. It will be. We've only seen them incredibly. We've only seen Cheltenham beat Gwalior. I've only seen Cheltenham beat Gwalior once.
Yeah, I've never seen us beat Gwalior.
It's always a fight. Honestly, it's always one of those scraps. Have you got a local derby just before we go, Nieve, that you've got in the league?
It was always Northampton last season, but I think us and Loughborough might have a bit of unfinished business.
Fantastic. Very good. Thank you very much, Nieve, for coming on, and we're going to hopefully hope for a good Cheltenham win against Gwalior tonight. So, from me, Owen Mason, and Ben Stevens, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.